All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Nathan Smith, and I am the Digital Programming Coordinator for the Central Arkansas Library System. Thank you so much for coming today for Microsoft Teams Work Together Apart. I'm happy to have you here, and I hope you get a lot out of the session. A few quick things that I always like to tackle at the beginning of a session. First of all, of course, we've got a ton of cool live events coming up. So let me get this off the screen there. We've got a ton of cool live events coming up. And if you want to see what all we're doing, just head to cals.org, move your mouse over events, and then click on the, well, where is it? That's odd. Okay, it's changed a little bit. Oh, there we go. Click on Find an Event Online, and that'll show you the full list of the events that are coming up. Lots and lots of cool stuff happening. And so I highly encourage you to check that out. Let's see, where is the one? So yeah, anyway, just look through that, see what's going on there. There's a ton of cool stuff. Valentine's Day is coming up, and of course it's February, so it's Black History Month. There are a lot of really interesting things happening. If you want to find out specifically about technology classes, head to cals.org, move your mouse over events and click on technology classes, and then just click on the button that says view and register for classes, and you'll see what's been scheduled so far there. And we should have March classes posted before too long as well. So another kind of Another kind of useful thing that I always like to say at the beginning of class is I want to make sure anytime folks come to one of my classes that they know they are encouraged to ask questions. So I want to make sure if you have questions, please speak up and let me know. And that way we can make sure they get addressed. The point of a technology class is for you to learn stuff about technology. So if I'm saying things that aren't making a whole lot of sense to you, or if you need clarification about something, or if you're just curious about something, then I definitely want to know that. Shoot me that, that question anytime when it occurs to you. I'm not worried about being interrupted. I'm not going to even think about, much less judge whether a particular question is a dumb question. Everybody's at different levels. We all have different skill sets. So no judgment there. I just want to make sure the question gets addressed. To that end, if you are joining me here in Zoom, what you'll want to do to ask questions is head on down, move your mouse toward the bottom of your Zoom window, click on that little chat speech bubble there if you're on your computer, and that should either slide the chat window or the chat box out from the side of your window, or if you're in full screen, it might give you a little separate box where you can put your chat messages. So that's where you go. If you're on a mobile device using the Zoom app, tap the center of the screen and look up near the top for a little thing that says more. Tap on that and tap chat in that menu, and you'll be able to get to the chat that way. If you are joining me via the magic of live streaming on Facebook or YouTube, then just put your, on YouTube, over on the right-hand side, you should see the live chat, and you can put your questions in there. On Facebook, you should see, you should be able to add your questions as a comment, just like you would on any other post. So, oh yeah, last thing, and it's related to that. If there are technical problems at any point, if I'm speaking but you're no longer able to hear me, if I'm screen sharing but you can't see my screen, if my camera goes out, then please let me know as soon as you can through the chat, the comments, or the live chat. That way I can make sure that gets addressed and that we're able to use our time well, and everybody is able to get a lot out of the session. So that's about it. Let's go ahead and dive in and talk about Microsoft Teams. So let me get the screen share back up and running, and we will. There it is. Excellent. Okay, there we go. Screen share is ready to roll. Cool. So what we're going to do, we're going to talk about several different aspects of Teams. And some of this is going to be related to sort of setting things up. So if you are someone who's a small business owner or manager of some sort, it's good to know how to configure it when you first start. We're not going to spend a super duper long time on that, just because I don't think that's going to be most people's situation. And honestly, it's not all that complicated either. So that's nice. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about how to set up not just the Teams app, but the actual Teams inside of the Teams service. The terminology can get a little weird, so just bear with me on that. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about lots of different things you can do in your Teams and how you can manage them. We're going to talk about the chat function, and then we're going to talk about doing virtual meetings through Teams. So that's our roadmap. Let's go ahead and get rolling. So on the slideshow here, I'll go ahead and show you. All right. So to set up a team or to set up the Teams service or app for your organization or for your group, the easiest way to do it is just to, in your web browser, head to teams.microsoft.com. So type that in the address bar, hit enter. When you get there, you'll see something like this, and you'll want to click sign in. Now you will need a Microsoft account. So if you don't have one yet, if you're using Office 365, or if you're using, or if you have, email from Outlook.com or even Hotmail, then you do have a Microsoft account. If you don't, though, you can create one. There's that little sign up for free button right here. If you do have a Microsoft account, you just want to click sign in. And it's going to prompt you for your email address, your phone number that's associated with your account, or your Skype username. Yeah, if you have Skype, you also have a Microsoft account. So type it in, click next, type in your password, click sign in, and then it's going to ask you whether you want to stay signed in on this device, and you can choose yes or no. Once you've done that, you'll get something like this. You're not on Teams yet, but you can set it up for your organization, sign up for Teams. When you click on that, then it'll take you down here. You click sign up for free, and then for some weird reason, it is going to, it's going to ask you for the email address that'll be essentially the account that's in charge of Teams. So you'll probably just be typing the same email address in again. Type that in, click next, and then it'll ask you how you want to use it. Now, for work or organizations, that's the one I'm going to assume that you're using, but you can do one of these others as well. And a lot of the functionality that we're going to talk about is going to be like almost exactly the same. So you can use it for school. The school setup, you basically have extra options for classes and things like that. And then with the friends and family one, you've got audio or video calls, and I think you can do some sort of sharing and things like that as well. But it's more focused on kind of the calling aspect of it. Click next, and then it'll prompt you to fill everything else in. So you've got first name, middle name, last name for you. You've got the company name, so you'll want to type that in so that folks know they're signing into the right Teams group or organization, I guess. And then, of course, the country or region that you're located in. And finally, you'll click Set Up Teams. So once you've done that, it's going to give you this. You can download the Teams app from here if you want, or you can use the web app. I do like the Microsoft or like the Teams desktop app. You totally have the option. You can do it however you want to. But I prefer the desktop app because it's nice to have a little icon down at the bottom of my screen that I can just click to in order to get to Teams. And since I use it fairly regularly, I always have it open. There's no sense in me there's no sense in me like closing it and then reopening it anytime I need it. It'll also give you little desktop notifications in the corner of your screen, which is pretty handy. And there are a couple of other useful little bits there. And honestly, just not getting it lost in the shuffle of the different web browser tabs that I have open is worth it in and of itself. Having an extra tab open is not optimal in my opinion. So if you do have it, you can click launch it now and it'll give you this little open Microsoft Teams. You can check the little box and then click open to go ahead and open it up in the program itself. If you go to use the web app instead, then it's going to give you something like this. You've got the Teams sort of where you start out right here, and the create a team option, which we're going to talk about in a sec. And then there are a couple of other things to point out here. Down here at the bottom, it says stay in the know, turn on desktop notifications. What I would do is click turn on, and then your web browser is probably going to prompt you like, do you want teams.microsoft.com to be able to send you notifications? And you can say, okay. You might, depending on the settings of your web browser, after you do that, you might actually have to click this little lock up here or whatever is there in your web browser and go to the site settings and turn it on specifically, because there are a lot of websites that want to spam you with notifications. And so some web browsers sort of default to not even showing you the option to turn on those notifications. If you do decide you want to do the desktop app after you load the web app, you've got a button right down here, this little down arrow with the monitor that'll download the desktop app and you can open it up. It's a super easy install. It'll take like 5 minutes and then you just sign in. Once you're ready to add everybody else that's going to be joining you in Teams, because of course this is a communication service, so it's not going to do you just a ton of good if you're the only one there. When you're ready to invite everybody else, what you'll want to do is click invite people down here. And that's going to give you this setup right here. And you can invite people from your email contact list if you use Gmail or Outlook or whatever. Or you can just click invite by email and you can fill in people's email addresses and their names and then click send invites. And when you're done, you click close. If you want to add more than the 4 people there are blanks for here, you just click add more. And that's how you set up Teams itself. So that's not too bad. It's takes a few minutes, but it's not going to be a whole afternoon or anything. Let me switch my sharing here and switch over to my example team that I have set up here. Boop. All right. And I'll get PowerPoint out of my way. All right, excellent. So I've set up a team already here, or a Teams environment, an organization here in the Teams app for this, as an example for the class. And once I've invited some people, I also need to create actual teams inside of the app. So in some situations, you will automatically have what they call an org-wide team, which would basically be a team for everybody in your entire Teams organization. If you don't have that, or if you just need to create other teams, here's how you do it. There's join or create a team right here. There's create a team or join a team with a code. So if someone has sort of a private team that they want you to join, they might give you a little code that you're supposed to enter here. But usually I find that seems a little clunky to me. It doesn't seem like the best way to invite someone to a team. So I've literally never used this. When I'm ready to create a team, I'll click create team right here. And then I have a couple of different options. So you can start it from scratch, or you can create it from a group or team in Microsoft 365, AKA Office 365, AKA SharePoint, whatever. Basically, if you already have a group that Microsoft knows about somewhere, then you can create a team and just bring in all those same people. Down here, they also have a bunch of templates to basically set things up for you, to set certain things up for you automatically and kind of give you a chance to work with some things pre-configured. So that could be nice if one of these things matches what you're wanting to use Teams for. Definitely, go for it. But we're going to start from scratch, so I'll click that. And then there are 2 options here, private and public. So a private team, it says people need permission to join. So basically, People might know that the team exists depending on how you have things set up, or they might not even know that it exists. But the private team, in order to see any of the contents of the team, you have to, folks have to join it, and they will need, they'll need your approval or your invite to do that, depending. Or there are public teams. Anyone in your organization can join. With public teams, when folks click join or create a team and there's a public team that's already out there, they'll see it in this list. They'll be able to just click on it, join it, and then they're in. So it's basically, do they need your permission to be in this one or not? Excuse me. So I'll go ahead and I'll create a public one this time. All right, there we go. Now, when it says public, just to be absolutely clear, public is public in your organization. So if you think about an office, if something's in a room that's in the center of your office where there are no outside windows, then nobody who hasn't entered the office building is going to see it. But when someone comes into the office, since it's a room that's in the middle, as long as it's, if it's unlocked and if people are able to come and go as they please, then pretty much everyone in the office is going to be able to see it at least. So you're not, if you create a public team, you're not broadcasting everything that happens in that team. You're not on stage, but it's possible that you're kind of leaving the windows open and the door unlocked. So if you want to do something, if you need to deal with things that have kind of confidentiality implications or things like that, you don't want to do that in a public team. You want to make sure that that team's invite only. If it's something more general, then you might as well let people come and go as they please. So make it a public team. Okay, let's give it a name. We're going to call this one, oh, I don't know. Team Awesome, who cares? Okay, and then you can put in a little description so that way folks know, if they're browsing teams that are available to join in your organization, or if they get an invite to your team, then they can see, what's this team about? Create. Okay, wow. I'll try again then. Weird. I don't know what's happening there. We'll just, basically, once you create it, you should see it here in this list. You should also see a team over here. I'll try one more way. I'm going to try it on. I do have another computer set up here. So I can, for later parts of the demo. Hey, okay. All right. So I was able to do it on the other computer. So now when I'll click somewhere else, and then I'll come back down here. Now when I click join or create a team, come on. Okay, this is bizarre. I don't know what's happening there, but whatever. We'll figure it out a little later. Anyway, okay, so now we have our, once you've created a team, the next thing it's going to do is just prompt you to invite team members. So you can, basically you'll get a little pop-up box that lets you search for folks and add them to your team and invite them. If they're invited, they're basically already added. They kind of have to opt out in order to not be in the team. So so just know that, like, you know, they're not going to, there's not a, if you talk to someone and they're like, I don't know if I want to be in that team or not, like, don't invite them, just let them tell you first. And then you can, once you invite them, they're in. So, so you, that way, if they decide, no, that's not what I want, then they can, you know, they don't have to jump through hoops to leave the team. All right, so now that we've got that, oh, okay. Now that we've got, or so once you've created your team, you're going to have, you're going to see it over here when you click on this teams tab on the left-hand side. This will list each of the teams that you're part of, and you can expand or collapse them by clicking this little arrow right here next to the icon for the team. If you're in charge of the team in some capacity, you can also change that icon, and sometimes that's handy. And then inside of each team, there are what we call channels. All conversation, all work that happens inside of a team also has to happen inside of a channel. So there's no like, there's no being like, there's no doing work inside of the team that's also not inside a channel. The channel that you start with, of course, is the general channel. The general channel is basically just, it's just anything, or it's just, well, it's the default. So if you're having general discussion about the topic that the team is centered on, or if you're having, if your team is for, say, a group, like, you know, if you're the manager and you have people who report to you and you need a team for them, if that's what your team is, then general is just going to be discussions for everybody that aren't on any particular topic. But if you do need to be a little more particular, you can create what's called a channel. So what you do is come over here, click on Add Channel, and then you can give the channel a name, a description, and some privacy options. So I'm going to call this specifics. Let's talk specifics. And our privacy options for channels are pretty much like our privacy options for teams. So standard is accessible to everyone on the team. So once someone joins the team, if we leave this channel as standard, then anyone else who wants to join can join. They can get there anytime. They can see what's going on, and they don't really have to do anything to get to the information. If they, you know, if they want to pop in on the channel once in a blue moon, they can. On the other hand, there's private, accessible only to a specific group of people within the team. So these are going to be the people that, these are going to be for channels with sensitive topics, or, you know, confidentiality, or things that are, you know, things that are relevant to a specific group of people that maybe other folks don't necessarily need access to. And so even though the team, if I set this as private, even though the team itself is public, only the people I invite are going to be able to see that the channel exists. And those are also the only people who are going to be able to participate in the work that we're doing inside of that channel. Let's go ahead and hit next. And we'll add this channel. Hey, okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to invite someone. Weird. Okay, skip for now. All right. So I've got my, I have my new channel here. And when you first create a team, your general channel is pretty much going to look just like this. You'll see the little lock there indicating that it's a private channel. If I click on the little ... here and click add members, then I can, that's where I can invite people. Seriously. So weird. And I can, well, let's see, let's go to the general channel where we've already got some things set up. So you can create basically as many channels as you'll need in a particular team. I highly encourage you though, like if you have an, you know, depending on the size of your group, you probably don't want a bunch of like, you probably want to create multiple teams rather than just, for example, if there are groups that are, you know, if, for example, you are one of 5 managers or something, and each of you has a team, you probably want not just a channel, but a team for your specific group of people that report to you. And, you know, you may have another team that's, you know, all of the customer service reps or whatever. But I would recommend having for each largish group of people, I'd say maybe 10 people or more, give those folks their own team rather than having it be rather than having their conversations be a specific channel inside of a team. That just gives folks more flexibility to work in different ways and makes it easier to organize and know what's going on. So, okay, cool. All right, so we've got our general channel and we've already got some chatter happening here. Each of these little, you'll notice there are 3 little boxes essentially here. Each of those is a conversation. Kind of like if you're on, say, Facebook, for example, you'll see, or there are posts and then there are comments and replies underneath each post, right? It's a similar type of thing in your channels. Each new conversation you could also think of as a post. And when you click there, and when you click on that new conversation button, it's going to give you a blank where you can start typing. Obviously, you know, you can just start typing right away. All right, so we've got our text of our first post of this conversation, and we can add additional things to this. So first of all, you'll notice this A button with a little paintbrush. If I click on that, it's going to open up kind of a bigger window here. If I switch back down and collapse this, if I press enter on my keyboard right now, it's going to send this message right away. If I want to create multiple lines inside my post to, say, separate paragraphs from each other, I can hold Shift while pressing Enter. And Shift Enter will take you down to the next line instead of sending the post the way just Enter would do. Or you can open this up. You hit the A with a little paintbrush. Excuse me, goodness. And then I have several. Options here. So there's new conversation versus announcement. So I can make a post that's more like, look at me, you know, this is very important, or we're starting a new conversation. In other words, there's a discussion happening and I'm getting the ball rolling on it. I have the option for everyone can reply, or only you and moderators can reply. So whoever owns this channel, or this team, I should say, they're owners, moderators, and then members of the team. So the owner of the team is the person who's most in charge of the team. They can add and remove people as they see fit, and they can also make other people moderators in the team. They have some other privileges, but it's not all worth getting into right now. And then moderators can do things like, say, delete posts made by others, or remove people from the group, or they can add tabs up here, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and there's some other stuff. So you can give people a limited amount of power without giving them all the power inside of your team. If I set this to you and moderators can reply, even though in this particular team, I'm not a moderator or an owner, I'm just a regular user, nobody else other than people who are in charge in this team can respond to my post. I also have the ability to copy my post to multiple channels if I want to, but I'm not going to do that. And then I have my text formatting options, which is the main stuff that's happening here. Oh, if I want to cancel, I can hit this little trash can, or I can press escape on the keyboard. For my text formatting, you've got bold, italics, underlining, strike through. You can highlight text with a color. You can change the font color or the font size. You can use text styles if you want to. That's really in depth. Well, not really, but it's kind of it's a little more effort than I would traditionally put into a Teams post. And you can clear all formatting, so you can remove most of these other things, basically. You can indent, you can add a bulleted or numbered list, you can add a little block quote that's set apart as a quote, create a link. So you, to make a link, you highlight text with your mouse, just like you normally would, click on this, and then put in the address there. Hit insert, and now that's a link. And it'll give you a little preview of any links that you add to your post down here below as well. If you don't want the preview to show, you just want people to be able to click the link, you can click the X and it'll dismiss that. You can paste a snippet of code. So if you're working with code, or if you're doing something that needs to be copied and pasted in a very specific way, then you can insert a code snippet as well. You can do a horizontal divider, a table. You can mark the message as important so that people are more likely to look at it. It just puts a little like exclamation point. And then you have your undo and repeat down here as well. So those are your formatting. You can also add a subject line if you want to. Normally you don't have that, but occasionally you might want that just to grab people's attention if it's something they might need to refer back to later. You can also attach things. So if I click this little paper clip, you can upload a file from your computer. If you use Microsoft OneDrive, you can grab a file that you've already uploaded to OneDrive and share it with someone. Or you can click Browse Teams and Channels. And if there's a file that's already uploaded in Teams and you just need to draw it to someone's attention, give them a link to it or whatever, then click that and you can just look through your Teams and Channels to find the file that you want to share. If I click Upload from my computer, here we go. I'll upload this image. I'll click Open. And now it's down. So you probably saw I got a little kind of progress bar up here at the top that was purple that moved across as the image was uploaded. Now it's completely uploaded. So I'm ready to go. When I post the post, the image will go along with it. Now, bear in mind, anytime that you do this, anytime you need to share a file in a conversation channel like this in your posts, in a particular channel, I should say, you will need to first upload the file as you're creating your post and then actually send the post. If you don't send it, then it's not going to work. The file will not actually be there. You have to send the post for the file to be there. You've got an emoji button right here. You can pull up and you can search for emoji. You can find it in the little menu here. you have a GIF button here as well, powered by Giphy, as it says. So you can search for something and drop it in there as well. All right, here we go. These people. All right, there we have it. Ooh, okay, that's going to make somebody dizzy. So I'm going to click on that and press delete on my keyboard to get rid of it. You can add little stickers. There's all kinds of stuff there. There's a praise option where you can give people a little badge for their cool work of various types. And there's the approvals, which we'll talk about in a sec. You can also click this ... and there are other things that you can do. These little apps are additional functionality that you can add, and they integrate with a lot of different things. If there are other services that you use, not just Microsoft stuff, but Adobe Creative Cloud is in there, and things like, I don't know, stuff like Eventbrite, or services that you use pretty regularly. You'll take a look through this, see if you find an app that integrates there, and you might be able to add some additional functionality to your teams and kind of be able to Zoom, for example. If you use Zoom, there's actually a Zoom app where you can create a Zoom meeting right here in the channel and invite everybody all at once. So I've got that there. I'm gonna go ahead and send it on. Boop. There we go. All right, my post is there, my image is there. And now if I want to, if I want to follow up on this, or if I want to respond to someone who posted a conversation post, I can click reply down here at the bottom. And that'll show them that I'm specifically talking about the topic that they brought up or responding to what they said, rather than if I click new conversation, what I'm saying is we're over here talking about something else. So just bear that distinction in mind, and that way it makes it easier for folks to follow the conversation, or for you to follow the conversation if you come back 6 months later, because that does happen from time to time. Okay, so there's your posts tab. If you get a significant number of replies, it may be collapsed a little bit. So like this, if I click here, then I can see this is the conversation that I had previously. And there's one other thing that's happening here. You'll notice there's a link there. If I click reply to this and say I want to draw it to someone's attention, or I want to mention someone and make sure that they are aware of the conversation that's happening, all I need to do is hit the @ on my keyboard, so Shift-2, of course. And then what's going to happen is it will pop up with some suggestions, or I can start typing someone's name like that. And once I've typed it in and press enter, then it will mention that person. So there'll be a little link. If I move my mouse over it, I can see that person, like who they are, maybe their title and things like that, depending on how you have everything set up, their email address even, and I can go from there to easily send a chat message to them, or whatever I want to do. Let's see. All right. And let me switch to a different channel here for a moment. If someone mentions you in that way, there we go. All right. So if somebody mentions you in that way, what'll happen is this. So there was a little noise there that I guess you probably didn't hear, since the the audio sharing is off right now. But I've got some little red dots right here. Up here is this little bell that says activity. There's a 1 next to that. And when I click on that, it's going to show me things that are hopefully relevant to me. So if I was mentioned, excuse me, or if someone sent me a message, when I click on this, it's going to show all those things in order. So I can quickly click through them and see like if there's something that particularly needs my attention there. And so it opens sort of a mini version of this channel over here. I can also click, there was also a little dot next to the Teams icon here. And there was a dot next to general where I was mentioned. There I am, see it's highlighted in red for me, so I can tell that, that it's where I was mentioned specifically. And I can even respond to these. I've got little response icons here, little reactions that you can use, thumbs up, heart, laughing, you know, wow, all that kind of stuff. And if I click this ... it gives me a few more options to deal with this pin. I can save the message to look at it later. If I click on that, what's going to happen is I'll come up here where my profile picture is, click on saved, and it'll show me just a list of all those saved messages. I can copy a link to the message so that I could put it somewhere else, or, you know, send it via a chat or whatever. See original message, that's interesting. Not sure what that does, whatever. Oh, there's a translation. Okay, I might have accidentally clicked that. The immersive reader, I believe, is just like a kind of a screen reader that'll read you this particular message. And then you can pin the message if you have permission to do that. It says this message will be pinned for everyone who views the channel. If I click pin, then what's going to happen is this message is going to show up here, and basically it won't go away. People will continue to see this this message kind of at the top or in a prominent place as they or, you know, whenever they use this channel. They'll unpin it and not worry about that now. You can also work with files here. So if I click on files, any file that I upload, even if it's just part of a post, like the image here, is also going to show up in this files tab. So if I click here, you'll see this is the image that I just uploaded. There's another file that I uploaded previously. You can create folders. If you pin a file or a folder, I'll click the little check mark, click pin to top. Then you can give easy access to that. Obviously, you don't want to do that for everything, just the super important stuff. And then I'll unpin it. You can also, of course, shift those around. Any files that are uploaded to your team, you can also download a copy of. You can even sync it to your computer using the Microsoft OneDrive software. So, so that's useful if if you work regularly out of a particular folder in your channel, then you can have it synced to your computer, and that way any changes that you make to it on your computer will be automatically uploaded to Teams, synced there, kind of like Dropbox or a similar type of thing. And any changes that anybody else makes, it'll get to the versions of the files that are on Teams will sync down to your computer after a while. You can also open it in Microsoft SharePoint. So that's the files. It's really useful to have this here. You can store a lot of useful stuff there, and that way everybody has access to it. By default, you'll also get this wiki tab. You can create a wiki that's kind of based on Microsoft OneNote. If you've ever used that, it's a very similar type of situation there. And you can also click the plus up here and add other tabs as well. So you can add a Word document, you can add a little whiteboard to collaborate, Excel, OneNote, PowerPoint, You could add a PDF file, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Most of this stuff you'll need to sort of sign in or connect with your account. But you can, if you use any of these services, you can work from there. Let's see. And there, oh yeah, you can also add a website. So if you click here, it'll give you you basically fill in a web address, and then folks can click the tab there to automatically go to, direct to that website. So if you keep something on an external tool that's not accessible in Teams, you can always add, the web interface for that tool there. And that way everybody can get to it with just a few clicks. All right. So let me double check on my notes and make sure we covered all of that stuff. Okay, cool. So a couple other things to note here. On the left, you have this chat function right here. So here I am chatting with someone, and I've got my, I can see when I look at everybody's icon here. So this person says status unknown. So they're not signed in and active in Teams right now. This person has a little check mark next to them that says they're on Teams. So they're marked as available. You can change that status at any point. You just come up here to your profile picture, move your mouse over where it says available right there. There's a busy. There's a do not disturb, which will actually mute most notifications from Teams while you're in do not disturb mode. There's be right back and appear away. So basically that's idle status. So it'll show like you're logged in, but you haven't done anything in Teams in a little while. And so like if somebody messages you, they can have an inkling that they might not get you right away. And you can even appear offline. So it can look like you're logged off, but you're not actually. There's a duration, so you can set your status to be good for a specific time before it goes back to available, or you can reset status to clear that up. You can even set a status message. So if somebody sees that you're on do not disturb or whatever, you could say, I'm teaching a class, or whatever. So in the chat area here, what you'll want to do up at the top, you can search for almost anything. So if you're looking for something inside of Teams, type it in, and hopefully you should be able to find it pretty quickly. But one of the key things about this is you can search for a person to chat with them. If you haven't chatted with them before, they won't show up here on the left. If you have, they usually will, although you might have to scroll down if it was a while ago. So you can type in a person's name and click on them to start a chat with them. Once you've got a chat, it looks like this. It's basically just it's messaging similar to, your regular old text messages or iMessage or WhatsApp or whatever you might use. And down here, you have most of the same options that you do when starting a conversation or applying to a conversation. You can also have files that are shared between you and whoever else in the chat. If you click organization, that's not set up for this demo team, but if your workplace uses Office 365, they can set things up so that it shows, who you report to, who reports to you, and you can kind of browse the whole org chart this way. So that can be really useful. And then activity over here, you can basically see like anything that they do that you could see, you can see listed out there. So the chat, let's see, I'll just send a little chat message. And you will see a little indicator. Down at the bottom that shows they're typing. And then you can use this to start a call with them. You can also, if you want, come over here, click on, where to go? That's interesting, it's not there right now. Oh, that's weird. So you can use this to create one. You can also create meetings inside of your, or you can use this to kind of start a call between you, either a video call or just an audio call. And you can also start one inside of a team. So if I come up here and click meet, then, well, it'll either start it up or I can do. That's so strange. Should have a little calendar over here, but for some reason we don't. Anyway, that's neither here nor there at the moment. If you do have a little meetings calendar over here, you'll be connected, or it'll be connected to your Microsoft account calendar, your Outlook calendar, and you can schedule meetings from there. So let's go ahead and I will start a meeting with myself here. There we go. All right, I'm going to open up the video call. All right, and now it's calling on my other computer that's next to me. And it's trying to stop me from using the webcam is not going to work just because, the webcam is not going to work because I have it on in Zoom. So let me turn that off really quick. Okay, here we go. All right, nice. Oh, y'all probably didn't see that at all, did you? Hang on. All right, I'm going to start the call again. And I'm going to share this. All right, so here we go. So now I'm calling. I'll pick up on the other computer. And there we go. Let's see. There we have it. All right, so now I've got the other computer next to me also showing me at the same time. I am down here. This is my view. I can click here and click switch camera, or I can come up if I want to switch to a different camera. This is a laptop, so I could switch to, say, I could switch to the built-in camera rather than the one that's above my monitor here. I can click device settings to specifically switch between, audio devices. So the microphone and the speakers or audio listening device that I'm using. In this case, the headphones that are plugged into my microphone. And then I've got and then I can click this drop down to switch cameras. You've got your mute, and you can turn your camera on and off using this. There's also a conversation area right here. If I click on this, then I'll see, because I started this from the chat, I'll see chat over here on the side. But, and so I can send people messages. When they go back to the chat between us, they'll see that chat message saved there. I can also see who's in the call, and I can type in someone else's name to invite them in if I want to. There's okay. You can also screen share. If I click share content, then I can see all of the various windows that I have open and screens that are connected to my computer, and I can choose whether or not to share sound as well. Let's see. All right, switch back to that. If I had started this as a scheduled meeting rather than a meeting from rather than a call from the chat, what'll happen rather than having my, okay, there we go. Rather than having the chat, the previously existing chat between us show up here, instead there's a specific meeting chat log that you can go back to later if you look at the, if you go to information about the meeting afterwards. You've got your live captions. You can do background effects like the little background image that I have here. As you can see from the other camera, I'm actually just in front of a green screen. And you can record, of course. It'll show a warning whenever anybody starts recording, so you'll know if you're being recorded. I'll go ahead and leave the thing here. You can rate the call quality just to tell them, yeah, it worked, or it didn't so much. And of course, if you're in a chat with someone else and you need to add additional folks, you can click this little picture right here, the little people with the plus, and you can add additional people to the chat. Now, the people that you've added to the chat, unless you allow them, there's a checkbox that you can use, but by default, they won't see the previous conversation that you've already had with the person or the people that have been in this chat so far. It opens a new conversation that's between, say, me and this person and the third person that I'm adding now. So yeah, that's how you do that. And that's the main stuff, except for weirdly the calendar thing, which doesn't seem to be working. I don't know why that is. We'll have to figure that out later. So what questions do y'all have for me before we wrap it up for today? Wonderful. All right. Yeah, I don't see any questions at this point. So I'll just say thank you all so much for joining me today. Can the videos be recorded? So yeah, like the video calls and things like that. Is that what you're asking about? Okay, cool. Yeah. Yes. So to do that, let's see, I'll open up. Okay, there we go. So by the way, if you start a meeting from inside of your team, or if you schedule a meeting and then you go to it later, you'll get something like this first. So I can change this to and I can kind of tweak all my settings here. Looks good. Join now. All right. Okay, so y'all still didn't see that. Okay, try that again. All right, so I'll click Meet there. What it does is it comes up with this situation right here. I can change the name of the meeting to, and I can set my settings so I can choose whether my camera is going to be on or off. I can change background filters so I can put a little background behind me like I have here. I can do where it says computer audio. That's usually the best bet. So I'll be using my microphone and my headphones that are plugged into my computer. I'll click join now. And now it's going to start the meeting. Okay, cool. And by the way, if you look at the, so from where I am right now, when someone switches, or when someone is in the other, or when someone's just browsing the channel, they'll see this right here. And because it's a meeting that started with the channel, they'll be able to just click join to hop in. And so that's helpful sometimes. Let's see. All right, so there, now I'm back. I can add any of these people by clicking request to join over here. There's the chat conversation for the meeting. You can raise your hand in a meeting if you want to. You can create breakout rooms if you want smaller groups to meet together. And you can change the view here. So there's gallery, so you see a few people prominently, and maybe a few others just look like icons. Large gallery, so you see a bunch of people on screen at once. Or together mode, which basically makes everybody look like they're in an auditorium or a spaceship or lots of different things, and tries to remove their background. So it's just their heads, and it kind of looks like people sitting in a space for the meeting. It's a little weird and disorienting. It is quite funny sometimes. So, but yeah, if you're going to record a meeting, what you'll do is click this little ... come on down here and click on start recording. Once you click on it, it usually takes a sec. But you're recording. You are recording this meeting. Be sure to let everyone know they're being recorded. So it shows and it shows over here in the chat where the recording has started. So we're recording. I'll come up here. I can either leave or end the meeting for everybody. So I'll click end meeting for the moment. And then turn my screen sharing back on. Cool. And I'll go ahead and start the camera. All right, so so down here, now that the meeting's been recorded, I have a download button right here. I can click that to download the recording, and it, as it says, it'll expire in 20 days. If I download it, I could also upload it into my files area here if I want to keep it permanently. But otherwise, eventually it'll disappear. Oh, that's weird. Recording failed to upload to OneDrive. So maybe it would have done it automatically, but it's not. This example environment is a little strange sometimes. So yeah, it's saved in Teams. I think it should be saved in the Files tab over here. If I download it here, then it'll be saved on my computer, and I could re-upload it wherever I want to. I could put it on YouTube or whatever. And yeah, so yeah, that's all that works. Any other questions from anybody? All right. Well, thank you all so much. If you do have questions later on, feel free to shoot me an email, digital@cals.org, digital@cals.org. And I will hopefully see you at another class soon. In the meantime, have a fantastic rest of your day and stay warm, considering the weather out there. Bye.